What day is it? Seriously, what day is it? It feels like April Fool's Day because I thought this was one of those fake Twitter profiles. Like someone on Twitter, instead of Jeff Gluck, it's Jeff Tuck. It's like Gtuck to try to trick people, and instead of Adam Stern, it's Adam Slurn. This is real. Blue or white checkmark thing next to Jeff Gluck. Major breaking news. I can't believe this is happening. I seriously thought this was an April Fool. Like, this is mind-blowing, what I'm about to tell you. You've already read the title. You've already looked at the thumbnail. But what I'm about to tell you, hold on to your breath, all right? Auto Club's about to turn into a half mile. I am not kidding. The news was broken to the world by The Athletic that NASCAR has submitted a proposal to San Bernardino County that outlines the project to change Auto Club Speedway from a 2-mile track to a half-mile high-banked track. Duh! Well, so they're going to be ready in 2022. We get the next gen car in 2022. So after the 2021 race, destroy it, make it into a half mile. Now, I'm still blown away, but before I show you the map of this thing, people are saying, why didn't they do this with Texas Motor Speedway, Kentucky Speedway, even Michigan, the sister track to Auto Club? And I think there are multiple reasons this is happening. Number one, if you want to do it to Texas and Kentucky, you have to go through SMI. NASCAR does not own those tracks. I don't think they own SMI. So they would have had to have discussions with them, and they would have had to have some terms or something. So that's why it didn't happen at Texas or Kentucky. And then as for Michigan and Auto Club picking those two, when you look at the racetracks, the majority of the tracks in this country that NASCAR runs on the Cup Series circuit are east and south. You got Talladega, Atlanta, Daytona, Homestead, Texas, Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville. I could go on and on, but mostly everything is east, and a lot of it is south as well. There's not many tracks west of Texas Motor Speedway, even west of the Mississippi River. You got Kansas, Texas, Sonoma, Auto Club Phoenix, off the top of my head, and Las Vegas. Off the top of my head, those are the ones that are west of the Mississippi River. So this is a big deal because where is Fontana, California? It's outside of Los Angeles. And if you don't know, Los Angeles is a big city. It's a very famous city. It's an international city. You got movie stars there, obviously. Big movie corporations are there. You got some major sports teams there, obviously. Lots of celebrities live there. It's got a heavy population. And NASCAR obviously doesn't have another race in a major, like in LA. They don't have one there. They don't have one in New York City. Watkins Glen is the closest thing, or Pocono is the closest thing, but there's no race near New York City. There are obviously races near major cities, but nothing as big as LA or New York City. So when it came down to if they had to pick between Michigan and Auto Club, I think it was a good choice to pick Auto Club because when you have a race near a major city where tons of celebrities are and you get a lot of eyeballs on, you want it to be an amazing race. Auto Club, over the years, the quality of racing has gone down for sure, especially with the packages changing, the cars changing. The racing just isn't what it used to be. I'm not saying they're the worst races ever. There have still been good races, but there have not been great, outstanding that you would say, oh, this is a great racing. I want to go back to this every single race that we have here, like we have at Bristol, Martinsville, these other short tracks. And so when you can change this into a short track and it becomes a big event, everyone wants more short tracks, and it actually saves NASCAR a lot of stress because think about this. They're looking at the 2021 schedule and everyone wants more short tracks or road courses, preferably short tracks. And in order to do that, they're looking at new locations, Nashville Fairgrounds, maybe bringing back North Wilkesboro or Rockingham. But if you're able to take a track that you already own, you have a lot of money invested in, and you can potentially wipe it out, which is a lot of money, and build some new grandstands, a new track, new parking lots, all that. That's a lot of money, but think about what could happen in the future. It could become a spectacle. It could be one of the new iconic races. I'm not going to say that it is. I don't know. We don't know the racing surface and all that. So that's another factor, I think, is that it's near LA. You want it to be a big spectacle, especially near a big city like LA with how famous it is. So I think that's why they picked that over Michigan potentially. They're both in the ISC, owned by NASCAR branch, whereas Texas and Kentucky, two tracks that people want to see demolished or turned into a different track, are owned by SMI, so there would need to be more discussions there. But yeah, so the current plan is they're going to turn Auto Club, they're going to tear it down, and they're going to turn it into a half-mile oval, and it's going to be Martinsville straightaways and Bristol banking. So you think about Martinsville. Martinsville has longer straightaways than Bristol, I believe, but it has short paperclip turns, so it's a much shorter turn. But here we're going to do Martinsville straightaways, so long straightaways, but we're going to have high banks. So think about this. Martinsville, but you got 30-degree banking. So I don't know how that's going to work. I guess it's going to be tighter. It's going to be a tighter turn. It's going to be like Bristol, but tighter turns and then a longer flat straightaway. So I'm interested to see how that ends up going. The construction plans, I'm interested to see if it gets approved by the San Bernardino County. It's a mind-blowing one. As I said, they have one date per year right now. I think that saves them a lot of stress when scheduling, trying to find a new short track. They've been in discussions with Nashville, as I said. Nothing that I know of on the old tracks like Rockingham and North Wilkesboro, if they're planning on bringing those back. So I think it just saves NASCAR a lot of stress. I know IndyCar used to run there. I don't know if they were planning on running there in the future, but obviously they can't run there anymore unless they want to do short tracks. But I think it'll be interesting to see how that all goes down. So that means our last race at Auto Club, the 2-mile oval, will be next year. And then we will have our first ever Auto Club short track race. And I think that's a really good thing, because if you think about it, as I was saying earlier, there's only, 6 races west of the Mississippi? Or 6 tracks, I should say. Some of these tracks have multiple dates. Well, there's no short tracks. Phoenix is the only one that could qualify as a short track, and I would call it an intermediate. It's like in between, It's kind of in that in-between category. But if you just put a pure short track out there, that's great. I think that's great. Obviously, good for the local economy over there in Fontana. Having a big sporting event where thousands, hundreds of thousands even, and maybe of fans come into town to watch the race, go to your restaurants, all that. But I think it could be a really good thing, because all of our short tracks, think about our current short track schedule. Bristol, Tennessee, Martinsville, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Where else are the short tracks at? I'm blanking out right now. But yeah, everything's east. Everything's in the east. NASCAR, obviously, their headquarters are here in the southeast in Daytona Beach. And then, obviously, a lot of operations are in Charlotte, North Carolina. So everything is in the east, or they're in the southeast. So you got to think about that. You got to make some more diverse tracks in the west. Right now you got a road course, Sonoma, that's good, and then you got a 1.5 miles, a 2-mile, mile and a half. So throwing a short track in there is a great idea, but I really don't know how fans. It's honestly getting a mixed reaction out of what I've seen on Twitter. Some people are saying, yeah, it's a great idea, I love it. Some people are saying, I don't know, this just feels weird. I kind of feel like that. When you think of Auto Club Speedway, you think about going 210 miles an hour into the corner before this current package. You think about driving it deep down in the corner, braking, those high speeds, and trying to get the draft on the straightaway, all that stuff. You think about the 2013 finish with Hamlin and Logano, and yeah, it's going to be a little upsetting to see that go, but they were due for a repave, and everyone's saying that if they repaved it, it would have ruined the racing, and the racing hasn't been great because of the current package. So I think it's a good move. It's going to be an expensive one, but I think it's a good call to make this a half mile. We've been begging, fans have been saying, more short tracks, please, more short tracks. And NASCAR's listening. They've been in talks with other short tracks. They've been looking for new places to add races, and this is a big step. It's not like they just added a date on the schedule. That would be a big deal, obviously, but they are investing a lot of money. This isn't like, a couple $100,000, tear it down, put it back up. This is going to be millions of dollars that NASCAR is putting into this project, assuming it gets approved. That is a big deal. So after the checkered flag flies next year at Auto Club, after all the fans leave the grandstands, all the teams leave the infield, they will begin the process of turning the 2-mile oval, D-shaped oval, into a half-mile Bristol-Martinsville mix. And that's another thing. Obviously, they could have just made another Bristol, another Martinsville, which would have been neat, I guess. West Coast Bristol or West Coast Martinsville, that would have been mad. But I like that they're doing something new. You think about when you want to make new tracks, you don't want to just make a cookie cutter like they've done with the mile and a half. It's like there's a Chicagoland and there's a Kansas. They're almost the same track. You got Charlotte, Texas, Atlanta are all very similar before Texas decided to jack up their 1 and 2. So I think that's good that they did kind of a hybrid of those two tracks. They tried to make it a little unique in its own way. So I think that's I like that they're doing something unique. I like that they're going to have a West Coast short track now, and it's near a major city where a lot of eyes are going to be on it. So I think this is actually a really good plan for NASCAR. I know it's getting a little bit of mixed reactions right now, but yeah, that's it. And then, I've been talking for 10 minutes. I haven't mentioned the map. Apparently, a map has been released. Here it is. You're looking at it right now. So obviously, that big thing in the middle is the track. You got some grandstands on the front stretch, obviously. You got some, it's very similar to Martinsville, it looks like. You got the front stretch grandstands, some turn 4 grandstands, turns 1 and 2 grandstands. And it looks like on that back stretch, I don't know if that's a place for RVs or what, but maybe spotter stand, I don't know. And then obviously around it, you got a lot of parking lots. You got some fan zone stuff, probably a visitor center for when you go to the track when it's not a race weekend, if you just want to visit the track. As I said, parking. Someone pointed out somewhere on this map is apparently like a little go-kart track somewhere. I'm looking for it right now, but I can't seem to find it. But yeah, here's the map. Once again, I'm blown away. I did not expect to wake up to this news. I expected to wake up to no news day because we haven't had news in what feels like years. And the news I was expecting was a Bubba Wallace contract, an Eric Jones contract, the announcement of the 48 driver. But instead, we're going to turn Auto Club into a short track. So, yeah, obviously it's going to be very different. And another thing about it is they film a lot of movies at Auto Club when it comes to cars. For example, Ford versus Ferrari, when they did the 24 Hours Daytona race for that movie, they did that at Auto Club. They just repainted the walls to make it look like Daytona Beach. They tried to change the grandstands a little bit. And, as a NASCAR fan, obviously, we know if you're a diehard NASCAR fan, you're like, that's Auto Club, that's not Daytona. But, they tried. It was close to them. They tried. So I think that's another thing that could affect. They're going to actually have to go to Daytona now if they want to have a movie shot there. But I'm blown away by this news, guys. I seriously can't believe this. I don't know what to say. I think I've shared all my thoughts. If you have, as usual, ask questions in the comments and I can type out my thoughts. I enjoy having discussions with you guys about anything, and this is definitely going to be an interesting topic. I'm interested to see how you guys see this. But wow, I will take things that I did not expect to wake up to for 15,000, Alex. Wow. I'm blown away, man. If that ends up being true, that's going to be a heck of an event in 2022. It's going to be It's going to be one of the most highly anticipated events. I don't know what the 2022 schedule will look like, but even if we get some new tracks, some new short tracks, some new road courses, that's going to be a highly anticipated race, and I can't wait for it, man. Like, look, I like normal Auto Club back before they messed with the package. You go 210 miles an hour into the corner, sign me up. Not to be in the car, but to watch. And turning it into a short track, the racing hasn't been great. There's been something like 2014 and 2013 were good races. Other than that, I can't even remember who won there, it feels like. 2016, Jimmy. 2018, Truex. That's 2019. I can't even remember who won in 2019. And who won it this year? Bowman. Bowman won this year, yeah. But yeah, as I said, man, it's going to be interesting. So, wow, this is a long video. I had a lot to say. Oh man, I'm blown away. I really am. Oh my hair's a mess. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you're as excited for this as I am. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe. And make sure to share. Holy guacamole.